Did you know that you can edit your tracks completely for free within Rekordbox? Let's jump on and I will show you this really cool feature. Okay, so welcome into Rekordbox. I am in Rekordbox 7 and I am on the free plan of Rekordbox. If you've watched my videos for a while, you will know that I have never paid for Rekordbox in my career as a DJ, so this is available for free. Now, what you're going to want to do is come up to the top left-hand menu here under Export and select that drop down. We don't want performance mode, but we want edit mode, which is at the bottom. So if you select that, you will see this new window will appear in the top of the browser. So we're going to just select a track here. I'll use this track by Darius Sarosian here, and I'm going to drag that into the editor. Now, this is not going to be very helpful here because there's not a lot of screen space to really see what we're doing. So underneath the main waveform, we have the browser here. So we're going to select that, and that opens the editor in a new window. Now, a couple of caveats before we get started. This editing feature within Rekordbox is useful to make very quick tweaks and edits to tracks in terms of extensions, deletions, that sort of thing, and loops. It's not a very comprehensive piece of DJ software. If you want something like that, I would thoroughly recommend you check out something like DJ Studio. They aren't sponsoring this video, but it is software that I recommend, and you can make redrums, mashups, edits, DJ mixes on there. At the time of filming this video, they have got a brilliant sale on, so you can save, I think it's 63%, which is massive. And if you use my code KARLTHOMAS at checkout, you'll save yourself even more money. They're always updating it. I think there's a new version 3.2 that's just come out as well. So there's always new stuff being added to DJ Studio. So check them out. But anyways, back to this video. So with regards to this then, we have here the master waveform at the top, which is the entire track. So you're going to use this to jump to the relevant section of the track that you want to effectively either edit or copy from. Okay, so that's how you navigate across the track, that big waveform at the top. And then you've got the window underneath, which is where you're going to make your edits. If you want to be a bit more precise, you can zoom in. So here we've got a 4 bar view, but if you want to zoom out to maybe sort of 16 bars, you've got that. But the further you zoom out, of course, the more difficult the track becomes to work with. So I feel like 16 bars is probably enough. Now, with regards to this editor then, what can you use it for? I think it's really, really good for if you want to make extended versions of tracks. So say, for example, you've downloaded a radio version of a track and it's only a couple of minutes long. It doesn't have an intro. This will help you to make intros by basically taking other sections of that track and rejigging things around a bit. Similarly, you can also cut things down. So if a track's too long and your crowd have a very short attention span, you can get through a track a lot quicker by cutting things out. So that's effectively what you can do. So say, for example, we've got this track here and we have a 16 bar intro, but we don't think that this is long enough. So you want to double that intro effectively. So there's a couple of ways in which you can do it. You can either click and drag using your mouse and it just highlights the track. Quantize, that red Q is switched on, so everything is going to snap to the beat grid. I would recommend that your beat grid is fully analyzed correctly before doing any edits, because otherwise it's going to sound dreadful. But yeah, you can either click and drag like that, very easy, or you can use the beat selector section at the bottom as well. Now, say for example, you want to make this intro longer. It's just a simple case of highlighting the bit that you want to extend and literally hit the clone button on the edit, and that will simply clone that part next to the end of the highlighted section. So we now have an intro that is a lot longer, 32 bars as opposed to 16. And it works in, I'm just going to undo that, and it works in exactly the same way the opposite. So say, for example, this 16 bar intro I don't want it. I actually want to get rid of it. You highlight it and you can delete it. Select delete, there we go. Now what's really cool is I mentioned the whole radio edit piece. So say for example you're working with a radio edit and you actually need an intro because the track doesn't have one. So you want to actually steal something from elsewhere in the track. You can of course do this as well. So say for example the track's got an outro but not an intro. So using the menu system at the top, well the waveform in the menu, not the menu, sorry, the waveform at the top, come to the outro. And we can see here we've got a nice bit of instrumental that could be used as an intro. And that's all we need that for the intro. So what you can effectively do here is copy this, okay? So highlight the section and drag and drop it into the palette here. So now we have the loop in the palette. By the way, apologies for the poor audio if it doesn't come through very well. I'm literally recording my screen here. I haven't got any external recorders connected today. So we've got the loop here in the palette. That's brilliant. So now this can effectively be placed into any part of the track that you want it to be placed in. So say for example we want that as mentioned right at the beginning because we don't have an intro. Ignore the fact that this track does have an intro. This is purely for this demonstration. So all we do there, we've got that in the palette, is we click and drag that over to the first bar. And there we have it. Now, of course, that does look like it's actually pasted it over the existing music that was there, but it hasn't. It's just added it and moved everything to the right a bit. So please don't worry about that. Now, this palette is actually really quite cool as well, because say, for example, we've wanted, add this intro in, but we're not sure which part of the track is going to sound best for the intro. So what you could actually do is say, I'm just going to pick another random part of the track. You think that could be a cool intro. What you could do is copy and paste that and into the palette. So you've got two sections there in the palette. And then you go back to your intro, you test out what the first one sounds like, which could work. But actually, you might want to just test it with the other one to make sure it sounds good. Right, let's see if that sounds any better. But remember, you have to delete the section that you originally had in. So let's just remove that. There we go. And now we've got the other section that I've put in. Which doesn't sound actually as good because we're this part is more full on than this part. So it doesn't quite work. But this is the beauty of having this palette. You can swap around things and you can try out different combinations. So there are just a few ways there in which you can use this editor. As I say, that is pretty much it. It is pretty basic. However, it is a great quick tool in order to make the tracks more fitting for your DJ sets. I think it's just a case of playing around with it, having a bit of fun, and seeing what things you can come up with. As I say, it's not a complicated editor by any stretch. Once you have finished all of your edits with regards to the track, all you then need to do is come up to the top and then render audio files. So it renders the edit results as an audio file, so it doesn't destroy the original track. It creates a copy of it based on your edits, and then it places it automatically in your collection ready to be used. So there we have a very quick intro into the editor within Rekordbox. I think it's pretty powerful considering it's free of charge. Of course, you do have to note its limitations. Did you know about this feature? Are you using it, and how are you using it? Let me know in the comments down below. If you've made it this far, please do give me a thumbs up, and also hit the subscribe button if you haven't done so already, and I'll catch you in the next video.